Hey everyone, AM1 on CAM1 and I am back at it again with another course review. Today's tour de course is happening here, WW1 Memorial Park in North Attleboro. They have a small disc golf course here. It's only 9 holes and it plays an awful lot like Daisy Field does, in that it's a lot of placement golf, there's a lot of trees, a lot of technical shots, which is a good thing. Unlike Daisy, you're not playing 400-foot holes with your putter approach. Everything's pretty short. Everything's between maybe 230, 240, and 300 feet. I'm not sure if there's actually a hole that's over 300 or not. There might be one that's at that distance. I know there's one that's 290. So anyway, short golf, technical golf, it's only 9 holes. As far as the birdie scale is concerned, I have to give this course a 1 birdie rating. There's no solid tee pad surface to work with. We're working on gravel. The baskets, however, are in good shape. They're Chainstar baskets, perfectly legit options, and I think it's a fun little course. You're gonna like it. The entire park is on a loop. You just drive in, go around. This is a zoo, it's a big playground, things like that. But that archway that I was standing under moments ago is right on the loop, so it's easy to find. You just have to follow a trail, which is what I'm doing right now, till you get to the very first hole. Direction to the various holes is pretty good. They have these little signs that are up here, but the signs themselves at the tee boxes only give you hole number and par rating. I think the distance as well. There are no maps, if you will, of the course. So I recommend U-disc or something like that if you're coming down here. So this is what I'm talking about when I say this is your tee sign. Distance, hole number, par, that's what you get. There are some other signs out on the course, which I'll talk to you about in a minute when we come up on one, that I think are a pretty nice addition to this one. But before we get into that, I want to show you the tee pads, because there's a bit of a problem here right now. There's nothing wrong with the design of these tee boxes. It's just hard packed stone dust in a fully boxed rail, which is a perfectly good design. They just need some maintenance. They need to be raked up, leveled, and then packed down again. Because right now, water has been pooling up in the middle of these. You can see little spots on some of them where it's ran out underneath the boards, and they're in rough shape. It's not a level surface to tee off of. Borderline dangerous right now. It just needs some work. Here's a look at the fairway for hole number 1. Tight tunnel shot, a lot of trees. Bends to the right at the very end. I'm throwing a mid. Now the signage at the tee box may not be very impressive, but one thing I do like is these guys right here. They've got signs that tell you 100, 50, 25 as you get closer to the basket. Gives you a good idea where you are on the course, because some of the baskets are kind of hidden behind rocks and things and can help you figure out where to go. Oh, come back. Garbage toss. Hole 2 may be one of my favorite holes on this course. It is a straight laser beam shot, 290 feet down. It's a slight decline getting in the way of the basket. There are lots of trees on the sides, but one of the things that I do appreciate about this course, I'll compare it to Daisy in the fact that it's, you know, a little bit cluttered, it's tight, and it's placement golf all the way through. But unlike Daisy, the spots on the rough off the fairway are much more forgiving. You can still advance a disc from a lie that is outside the fairway, even on a hole like this. Part of that is because the holes are so short and you don't have as much distance to make up. But I think it works better on a course this size. Get in. Woo. Yep, I'll take that.
Hole 3 is one of those spots where a course map would be nice. It can be difficult to see the basket from the tee. I think the thing to do is to stand on the far corner of the pad and then look just to the left of a large rock that's in the fairway. And it's basically on the back side of a hill that we're looking at down there. Not very far, but there's a lot of trees in the way, very well guarded green, so makes it tricky to get that deuce. Too low.
Trash. While I'm walking up to my disc, I'll mention something here. I played this course for the first time yesterday, and I was playing ahead of a couple of guys who were behind me, and I got myself into a situation where I couldn't find the disc that I'd thrown, so it took me an extra 60 seconds, 2 minutes maybe, to find my disc and get going. I was on the back side of this hill, and I was walking off after having just put out when I heard somebody smash chains. No one can see you on the back side of this slope. And that's where the basket is. So be careful if you're ahead of somebody, and watch out for incoming.
Oh no. Might have bounced off the back of the green on that one. So all in all, I think that's a very fair hole. It's an exceptionally well guarded green, but you got this slope on the back side of it making for a death putt. But it's very rocky slope, so I don't think you're gonna get that many rollaways.
The walk between holes 3 and 4 is one of the longer ones on the course, but they have these nice signs which help keep you on track.
Hole 4 is another nice hole. This is the longest one on the course, I believe, 320. It goes straight out, straight at the basket in the distance. You can see it sitting on top of a hill. It's a bit of a tunnel shot off of the tee, but there's enough room that you can work through the trees if you need to. I haven't talked yet about this being a right-hander hole or a left-hander hole or flick or Annie or whatever it is. That's because, like Borderland, this course gives you a great deal of freedom. There are lines and there are lanes that you can take, whether you're a lefty, righty, it doesn't matter much. You can find a way to get there. I tagged a few branches, but otherwise that was a good drive. First time I pulled out a driver on this course. Coming up the hill, it looks like this is a bit of a death putt where you're gonna, might roll down the backside. But once you crest the top of this and get a look at the green, you can tell it's not really that steep on the backside. So go ahead and run it from a distance, try and get your deuce.
My biggest beef with this course is probably the tee pads, and not just the condition of them, because that's easily repaired, but you look at the step off on this and you're falling down 3-4 feet after you come off the tip of this tee pad. This is a spot where I think somebody needs to get some rocks, pile them up, and cover that with dirt and gravel, and make a spot for the long-legged people to finish their throw. This particular hole isn't that far, 245, but it's straight uphill, and a lot of guys are going to be tempted to crush it on this hole.
This hole reminds me of something we'd find at the 501. It may not look like it on camera, but we're going straight up a steep hill here. The pin is located up the middle, which is easy to find. You can see the footpaths where people walked before, and then slightly to the right when you get to the top of the hill, maybe 15-20 feet off to the right-hand side. So I'm right here in this little bush. Using the handy signs they've got around here, I can tell that I'm about 55-60 feet out from the pin. So I've got a long look. There are some trees up there surrounding the basket, but even if I doink one of those, I'll have a 15-20 footer to get it in. The thing that's bothering me from this particular lie is I've got some lettuce on the top of the hill here I've got to get over to make a backhand lane at this. I could go extreme hyzer and try and hook it in, but I'd be engaging more of those trees if I do. Let's just see if we can helicopter it in there. Oh, that's short.
I have the camera positioned right on top of the tee pad here, and I'm looking up the hole, the fairway for hole 6, and there's a big giant rock ledge ahead, and looks like the perfect place to plant a basket, except you can't see a basket anywhere up there. Well, just trust me, it's there. There is a cluster of trees that's right in the middle of the fairway, and it is directly behind that and up on top of the rock. This reminds me an awful lot of hole 5, I think it is, at Dacey, where they have a basket up on top of a rock and there's a huge drop off the back side of it. This is the same kind of a hole. I think the drive might actually be a little easier on this version of things because you are just going straight ahead. You just have that, like I said, that copse of trees right in the middle of the fairway.
That'll work. From down here, we get our first actual look at the basket. It is up between these trees to the right of the one with the 50-foot sign on it, and on top of the rock. It can be kind of hard to see. There's a yellow flag on top of it, but right now when it's still, it's facing directly backwards, so you don't get a profile on it. But I'm in a pretty good spot here. There is a big drop behind that, but it's not so close that you can't, push to go ahead and land your disc near the basket. You don't have to intentionally throw short. That should be fine. I just talked about this, but I wanted to mention it again. You've got a decent area. There's a good 10 or 15 feet here where you're safe to land beyond the basket. So, it's risky to run it from a distance, but don't be terrified of falling off the back of it. Hole 7 is another hole where I think that a fairway sign would help quite a bit here because you cannot see the basket from the tee shot. However, that said, I think this is an expertly designed hole. I really like the way this one plays. We are throwing up essentially to the opposite side of this rock ledge that's right in front of me here. That thing looks massive, and it's kind of a daunting obstacle to get around. Not to mention that we are going a considerable bit uphill, and again, the camera lies a little bit and doesn't, kind of downplays the amount of grade that we're working here. But we have to go up on either a hyzer route going up this side here and bend it back toward the basket, or there's an alternate route. If I had my river or something like that, I might throw this way, going out this side and hooking in, from left to right to get there. So lefty, righty, forehand, backhand, you've got options on this hole. I think that perhaps the right-hand forehand option would be probably the best, ultimately going up that route. I will throw backhand. I'll try the hyzer route, and then I'll try the ante route. We'll see how they go. I don't have a river in my bag anymore. I've got a Saint, which is similar. It doesn't turn quite as much, but I'll give it a try. Start off, again, this is another hole where I'm actually throwing a driver, well, fairway driver anyway. That went a little bit too straight, played it a little too far outside, but I'm up there. Let's try the other lane. I'm going to have to force this one to turn quite a bit. You know what? I'm going to throw my beat-in old flow. Oh no! Oh, that's trash. Okay, so here I am at my first drive. This is a T-bird that I threw up here. I hung it out a little bit too straight. I should have put a little bit of hyzer on it. I'd prefer to be beyond these rocks. When I get up to the basket, I'll turn the camera around and take a look downhill so that you can see the other fairway. I do think that's probably the preferred line. Yeah. Okay, behind me you can see that's the left side fairway. If I had made that Annie shot, I'd be looking at a wide open fairway coming up the hill to the basket here. There's a cluster of 4 trees that's kind of in the way, but other than that, the ground is pretty even. You can get some forward skip action. I think that probably is a preferred route if you can throw it. Hole 8. This one's a bit of a chip shot. 210 feet, not a whole lot of distance to work with. You start off in an elevated position, the fairway drops down into a little valley, but then it comes back up to the other side, and that's where they positioned the basket. So essentially, no elevation change between you and the basket, even though you might be taking an uphill shot for your putt, or even an upshot if you hit a tree early. It's a tight hole, there's a lot of trees in the way, but there's a left-hand lane and a right-hand lane, and both of them are workable. This is one of those holes where you definitely want to walk away with the deuce. So I drove that shot with my Warden. I took the left-hand lane on an Annie. I released it a little bit nose down, so I landed well short of the basket. But even with a less than ideal drive, I'm only about 20-25 feet away from the pin. Coming off of hole 8, there's a sign here for hole 9 and a tee box on the ground over there. But I get the feeling that that is maybe the original hole 9 and they have since moved it. Because I actually, when I first played this course, came out and teed off from that spot, never found a basket. What you gotta do is you gotta walk back up the path, past hole 1, and almost back to where your car is parked. That's where we'll find it. Okay, hole 9. This is another long one, and it might be another place where you bust out an actual driver or a controlled driver for the shot, or you might throw a mid. I could throw it either way, I think. This one is tight. I like this hole because of the challenge that it represents. It is a tight tunnel shot up the further part of the fairway. You can go outside right on this and get way out there, but you're probably going to hit trees at the very end of the line, or you can go left side. It's a tight line, but you get a disc to flip over, go in that direction. You're going to be in a sweet spot for your approach or for your putt. I have tried a couple of times going this way when I was here yesterday. Neither one of them hit the gap, but both of them were so close to beautiful. I want to come back and try that again. We'll see if I get it today. Oh, clipped the tree, but I think I'm okay with where it kicked to. One last thing worth mentioning about this hole, look at that drop off after you come off the tee pad.
It's a good 18 inches before you hit the ground, and then you'll probably fall forward and stumble, into the trees that are next to it or something like that. That is a tough spot you do not want to overrun this tee pad.
Right now I'm about 60 feet out from the pin. This is good territory as far as I'm concerned. While everything on this course is a legit par 3, I think that this is the one that you are most likely to bogey, just because that bottleneck halfway up the fairway is so tight. It requires a really pure throw in order to get all the way up here and have a legit look at the deuce from inside the circle. So it's a beefy par 3. Oh, bit of a skittered away on me. There we go. Final thoughts on this course. 9 holes, the tee pads are in rough condition, baskets are good. There is evidence of a second layout here, but those don't even have tee boxes or stone dust laid down on them. I'm not sure if every hole has a long layout planned or sometime in the works. They didn't look like they were in great shape, but there is signage for them. And there are facilities here as well. While they're not dedicated to the disc golf course, there are, bathrooms available. There's the zoo, and there's all kinds of other facilities and park features that are available for anyone who wants to spend a whole day here. In fact, you might show up with your kids, let them go to the playground with your significant other, while you go play 9 holes. So it's a great situation, a nice place to come. I don't think this is a destination course though. The condition of it and the brevity of it make it pretty much a single birdie on the birdie scale. That doesn't mean you shouldn't come try it out if you're already in the area though. I think it's a very playable course. They have done the best they can with the terrain that they've got, and I think you should applaud them for that. There's some very interesting holes. I'm a big fan of 9 and of, I think it's the big uphill one with the rock. I think that's 7, and even 4 is a good hole. The tunnel shot on 2 might be one of my favorites. It's hard to pick because these are really nice holes. Are they big bomber things? No, everything's a par 3 and deservedly so. In fact, hole 8 might even be a bit of a par 2-ish sort of situation. So, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the whole course right there in a nutshell. It's like backyard golf on steroids. Until next time, my friends, stay frothy.